Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first webinar of this series of 5 webinars dedicated to the beginnings of the connection application called Master Your Connections. And the topic for today is Getting Started. Let me introduce myself. My name is Vlastimil, and I work as a technical channel manager at StatiCa Asia and Pacific, and I'm based in Singapore. Before we start, let me remind you that we're using the GoToWebinar platform for running the webinar. So you are all muted by default. And in case you have any questions, feel free to ask, but please use the question panel on the right side of the application. So let me now turn off the cam and let's have a look at the agenda. So today we'll go through how to get a trial or a commercial license of StatiCa. I'll show you the user portal and license management. We're going to start a new project in the connection application. So I'll go through the whole UI of the application and I'll show you how to design still connection. And then we'll go through individual results sections one by one. And then at the end of the practical demonstration, I'll show you how to create a report and explain the possibilities. So let's jump right to it. So I'll jump off the presentation and I'll start StatiCa application. And before I do that, actually, let me show you how to get the license. Yeah. So if you go to statica.com to our webpage, there are two options how to get a license. At first, let's talk about the trial license. So it is a 14 days full version of our software, and you can easily request this trial license clicking the button in the right top corner of the web page. So now I need to select my role. So let's say I'm a senior engineer. And if I click on continue, it'll take me to a short form, which I need to fill. And after filling and submitting this form, after the request is processed, then you will get your 14 days full trial license, and you'll be able to try StatiCa on your own. So this is how to get a trial license. As you can see, it's very easy. But if you already know that you would like to purchase a commercial license, you can directly contact your corresponding reseller in a country. If you're interested in authorized resellers of StatiCa, again, if you go to statica.com and in the company section, we have a list of authorized resellers. So for example, for Singapore, we see that authorized reseller is Ramkatsis and Mr. Reddy. Using this list, you can select your country and see the corresponding resellers there. So this is in case you want to purchase a commercial license. All you need to do is to contact your reseller and then find the possibilities. If you don't know which product you would like to purchase, or you're still deciding what are the benefits or what each package contains or consists of, you can again find all corresponding information on our webpage in the pricing section. You can select either if you're a standard user or enterprise user. Let's go with standard users at first. So in here, you can select what interests you, see the benefits. Yeah, so let's say we are interested in commercial products. So in here, you can request a priced quote, for each package. IDEA StatiCa has 3 products: steel, concrete, and complete. If you want to know what's available in what product, you can see it in this table. You see the comparison for steel package, detail package, concrete package, and complete package. So in steel, we have the connection application, the main connection, the main application for steel connection design, steel member application for dealing with steel general members, and of course it contains also the checkbot application for beam links, and the viewer application is also available for this package. And if you still don't understand how the packaging works, you can see this diagram or this chart. So in detail, it contains only the concrete detail application. Then we have 2 products, steel and concrete. Both of these products are in the complete package, and above the complete package, there is the enterprise product. And again, if you're interested in seeing the benefits, you can see everything important on our web page. So this is how you can request either trial version or how you can decide which product you would like to purchase for your commercial license. Let's say you did that, and now you would like to download IDEA StatiCa. So again, on our webpage, if you go to support and learning section, there is a downloads and licensing section. And I can select first tile called installation setup, where I can download the latest version of IDEA StatiCa. So as you can see, current version is version 24.0.2.1666, released this month. We usually release minor patches every month. Those patches contains all information, all important information about the product. It consists also latest features and implementations, and of course necessary bug fixes. If you're interested in some previous versions, you can download them here too. So after you click the download button, the installer will be downloaded to your computer, to your machine, and then you can install the software. So after you install the software, you need to sign in to IDEA StatiCa. For that, you will need to use your credentials. So after you download IDEA StatiCa and you have your license, you automatically get also the credentials. So the username, it's usually your email address and some password that can be then changed during time. Or if you are an enterprise customer, you can use the advantage of single sign-on. Yeah. So if you're a standard user, fill in the credentials and click sign in. In case you're an enterprise customer, you can use single sign-on either with a Google account or Microsoft account. Yeah. So I'll sign in with my Microsoft account. Okay, I select my account. Now I'm closing the browser and going back to the application. So now it's opening main IDEA StatiCa application. So this is the main IDEA StatiCa application. As you can see, this is the home view. So we see all main applications, recent projects, and news on the right side. If you'd like to be certified, you can click this link. It'll take you to our webpage, to our comprehensive campus e-learning courses. I'll be talking about them later on. or if you would like to follow us on a social media, you can also click one of the links. So when you're in the main application and you want to check your license pool, you click this log button in the right top corner of the main application. And in here, you can manage your license. So you see the account you used for signing in into the application. And on the right side, you see all available products. It means that in here, you see all products that you purchased. If you have a trial version, you would see only trial. And as I said, it contains all from steel and concrete. But then if you bought a commercial license, you would see your corresponding product. So in my case, I'm lucky enough to have all available products, so I can decide which one I'd like to use. So as you can see, I have a steel product selected. It means that I now am occupying one of the seats from my licensing pool, but this is important. If you want to release the license, your seat, and let anybody else use the seat, you need to click on release and untick the steel button. Yeah. This means that I have now released my seat and anybody else can within my company can use this seat. If I keep this key products reserved checkbox turned on, it would mean that it would remember me, and if I don't release this seat, it would still be occupied. However, if you don't want to keep remembering this all the time, you can unselect this key products reserved button, and then in case you close all StatiCa applications, you'll be automatically signed out and the seed will be automatically released. So now I want to use one of the steel seats, so I select it and click reserve. And I can close this, and now I am occupying one of the steel seats. Before we start the connection application itself, let me also mention settings that can be done in the main application. So again, in the right top corner, I click the middle button. And now the software opens preferences. So those are shared settings. It means that whatever you set in this window, then it will be applied to your all available products. It means the same setting would be considered, for example, for all steel applications, as well as for, let's say, concrete applications. If you have also concrete product. So in here, I can change the language or logo of my company. This is an initial setting. So whatever I have set here, then the software automatically will consider in every new project I create. You can also change various units, main units, material units, and also units for results. In application units, you can change, for example, some entity roundings and also roundings of welds. In the graphics section, you can change different colors for individual elements in the model. And in 3D settings, you can again change various settings regarding the visual side of the application. And under advanced settings, we have one section called developer mode. You can enable this developer mode, and it means that you would be able to use parametric design and parametric, for example, templates in your model. But we can speak about this maybe next time. Yeah. So whatever you set in here, you just click on save, and it'll be automatically applied to all other applications available in your license. So you can start one of the applications right from the home screen, or if I go to Steel section, again, I see all available applications for Steel product. I don't see anything instead of checkbot in concrete because I don't have concrete license. And in this BIM section, in case I want to use the advantage of one of the BIM links, that's where I can integrate all supporting BIM links with third-party FEA or CAD software I use for my daily job. So I'll go back to Steel and start the connection application. Okay, so the connection application opened, and this is how it looks when you open the connection application for the first time. On the very right side of the application, you see various settings again, so I can create new project, open existing project. In case I'm having already some projects opened, I can save them and see information. I can see information about the current version of the software I use. So as you can see, I'm using the latest version of IDE StatiCa. Again, I can change one of the shared settings and also check information about the license I'm currently using. So I'll go back to new and create a new project. So there are two options basically how to create a new project manually. Yeah. The first option is to use the advantage of one of the predefined templates. So IDE StatiCa connection has more than 250 ready-made, ready-to-use made templates. Yeah. It means if I want to start a new project manually, I don't need to design or define anything from scratch. What I can do, I can use one of the predefined templates, select the topology of the connection that suits my needs the best, and start to work with that. So we have plenty of beam to column connections, beam to beam connections, truss connections, base plate connections, some complex connections, also steel to timber connections, and also a set of seismic connections. And if you select the American code, then we have a set of pre-qualified connections. And of course, the second option of starting a new project is to really start from scratch and model everything manually. But let's say I want to use one of the templates. So I'm interested in beam to continuous column connection. That's what I need to do in the second column called geometry. So I selected beam to continuous column. And in the third column in the design, we can select a suitable template for either moment connections or shear connections. So let's say I want to connect a horizontal beam to vertical column using an end plate and some stiffeners. Then I can proceed to the last column, which is called parameters. In here, I can name my project. So this is my very first project. I can include description. It's totally awesome. Yeah. And then what I need to do, I need to select corresponding steel grade, bolt assembly grade, weld grade, and if I have or if I tend to design a base plate connection, also concrete grade. So this is up to you how you define the initial parameters, because everything that's been set up here can be then changed during modeling. So you don't need to be afraid if you select maybe not that convenient steel grade at first. You can always change it during the modeling process. The only thing that cannot be changed during modeling is the design code selection. So once you define a design code, then you need to stick to the selected design code. At the moment, we have 8 national codes implemented: Eurocode, American, Canadian, Australian, Chinese, Indian, and Hong Kong. So I'll select Eurocode, and that's it. I'm done with the initial setting, and I can click on Create Project. So now the connection is being automatically created by the software. And now we also see the connection. So the UI is, as you can see, very simple and I would say very user-friendly. So there are 5 tabs at the top of the application guiding you through the designing process. Set of buttons in the top ribbon. In the middle part, big 3D graphic scene with the navigator tree on the right side, and on the very right side of the application, the property grid. So let's go through individual tabs one by one. We can start in project. And again, this is very similar to what I have already showed you when I was creating this this connection. So this is the same. You can create new project, open an existing one, etc., etc. In here, I can identify my connection, so or myself. Yeah, so I can write my name in here. I can, for example, include my phone number, etc., etc. At the bottom part of the application, that's where you can create a new connection or copy the existing connection. What does it mean? It means that I can have as many connections as I need to within one project file. So this is one project file, and in this file I can have, for example, 20 different connections if I need to. So what is the purpose of this? Let's say sometimes you need to check the same connection according to different types of analysis, yeah. Because maybe the initial stress strain analysis is not enough, but you also need to check, let's say, stiffness of the same connection. So as a first step, you can run stress strain analysis to analyze resist strains and others in a first step. And then you can simply copy already designed connection, change the analysis type to stiffness, and perform, for example, stiffness analysis. And of course, you can also delete some connections and calculate all connections within this project files within this project file at once. So I'll go back. This was the project section, and now we are in the design section. That's where you spend probably most of the time when designing steel connection. So in the top ribbon on the very left side, there is a section called project items. In here, you see the current connection I have in my project file. If I have more connections, I would see the list of all of them. And in here, I can also create a new project or copy existing connection. In the data section, under redo buttons, together with save button, very important button. In the labels section, I can turn on or off labels for different components of the connection. So now I turned on labels for plates because every cross section in the connection application is divided into individual elements, into individual plates. That's why I see labels for all plates, for example, for this eye cross section. Also, I can turn on local coordinate system. During modeling, I can also create different pictures. That's the purpose of those 2 buttons in the picture section. Yeah, so if I want to create a picture of this connection, I can click on new and save this picture to my gallery. If I open the gallery, I see all saved pictures that I can then use and include in my final report. So in the connection library section, that's where you can either apply or save various templates. This is especially useful when you do not have any manufacturing operations defined yet. So I would have only horizontal beam and a column. And let's say I'm a very junior engineer and I do not know how to connect those members together. So what I can do, I can click on propose button and the software would automatically show me hundreds of possible configurations for defined topology or geometry of the connection. And on the contrary, if I have already designed a connection and I know that I would need to deal with the same connection and again and again and again in my project, I can save template of this particular connection using the publish button, save it to either my personal library or company set, and then use it for all my future projects. And of course, I can manage all created connections in the connection library manager. So in here, you see all connections that are saved in my library. And that can be eventually used for example, my connection. In the middle, in the CBFM section, we have code setup. That's where you can define different parameters that will be then considered during the analysis. By default, we recommend not to change anything in the code setup if really not necessary, because all the properties of, for example, model and mesh, especially, are fine-tuned by our solver team. So we do not recommend to change anything really unless it's necessary. Of course, it's safe to change, for example, some safety factors. So let's say I want to rewrite this partial safety factor gamma M2 from 125 to 1.5. I can easily do it like this. And then I can click on save and OK. And the software will automatically consider this. Or if I want to go back with my settings, and I don't remember all the sections I changed, but I know that I want to go back to default setting, I can click reset button and it'll take me back. Then I click on OK and that's it. Then of course, calculate buttons and moving on to the options section. So in this settings, you can change the estimated cost or production cost of the connection. Also set different settings for design, also for fire design, and change parameters for load extremes selection. Loads in equilibrium functionality is turned on by default, and again, we strongly recommend to always have it turned on. Yeah, because this is very important setting. That's why we recommend to always have it turned on. In case you need to turn it off, I recommend you to read the knowledge base article we wrote about this functionality. That can be found if you hover over your mouse cursor over this button and click on learn more. It'll take you to our webpage to corresponding knowledge base article. In import export section, you can import load effects using Excel spreadsheet or load effects from different connection project file. And at the same time, you can export the information back to Excel spreadsheet. And in the solve export section, there are two buttons available. First one is IFC, so I can immediately export this connection to IFC format and then use it for example, 3D models for my shop drawings. And the button that is not available now is called Detail. And this is one of the latest implementations for version 24. In case you're designing and checking baseplate connections, you can export the results from the connection application to the detail application and use our 3D solution for checking the footing, the concrete foundation block, including the reinforcement. And on the very right side, there is a new section where you can define new members, load effects, and various manufacturing operations. So this was a top ribbon. And now let's talk more about the main graphic scene in the middle part. This is where you see the design connection in 3D. And this is also where you can see all immediate changes that are being done during the designing process. So you can rotate with the connection using this rotate button in the right top corner. You can zoom in, zoom out, zoom some region, and also use the pen functionality. So you can either use these buttons in the top, or you can use the middle mouse button. So when you're rolling, middle mouse button, you're zooming in or zooming out. If you press Ctrl on your keyboard together with the middle mouse button, you can rotate with the connection. So basically all the same behavior as I showed you before using various buttons. And the same can be done using the cube in the right top corner of the graphic scene. So if I click on it, I can rotate, change the setting. And if I want to go back to a default visualization, I can use the home view for that. So by default, you see the 3D model using solids. But there are also other options how to visualize the connection. The first one is using the wireframe mode. So now the members are represented by their axis. And this black ball in the middle, it represents the center of the joint. So this is the center of the joint. For example, when you have the same connection or the same structure in your 3D global model. This black ball represents the node from your global model. This is a wireframe mode, and the last option is to use transparent mode. This is especially useful if you have more complex connections, let's say some members or some parts of the connection overlap. This can help you to explore the connection more. And also, this is very useful when you want to check if all components are properly welded, because the welds are represented by those yellow lines that you can see in the graphic scene. So I see that all stiffeners are welded together with the eye cross section. And also at the same time, if there is any collision, if there are any members or plates or welds overlapping, then it would be represented in red, and you would immediately see where is the problem. And if you're in this transparent mode and you click on one of the members, you see a moment diagram for a unit force, which helps you to immediately understand the whole behavior of the model and how the internal forces are distributed or considered for the analysis. So I'll go back to a solid section, a solid visualization, sorry. So now let's say you want to modify the design connection a little bit. For that, you can use the navigated tree. For example, I have now selected the horizontal beam in the navigated tree, and on the right side in the property grid, I can see various parameters or properties that that can be changed. So information about cross-section, whether it is ended or continuous member, its position with different angles that can be set together with offsets, and the alignment of the beam, and also information about the modal type. This type means that this member is able to transfer all 6 components of internal forces, and that the forces are positioned in the node of the connection itself. So the first option is to select the member in the navigated tree, or you can click on it directly in the graphic scene and again change different parameters. So let's say I don't need this column to be that big. I want to change the cross section, so I can click this pen button and change the cross section, selecting one of the very comprehensive library of cross sections. But if I don't want to look for it manually, I can use the search panel at the top. So I want to look for HEA 160. And again, very quickly, I can change the cross section of the column, and the change is automatically shown in the graphic scene. The same applies for load effects, because I use one of the predefined templates. So there is one load effect defined by default. So I can see the table of internal forces that can be introduced in my connection. And at the bottom, I see a table of unbalanced forces. And this is aligned with the loads and equilibrium functionality. If I see all zeros in here, that shows that my design is correct, and I do not have any unbalanced forces in my model, so I can proceed with the design of the connection. And now we just need to connect those individual members together somehow, and for that you can use, or you should use, manufacturing operations. Because we selected a predefined template, we have 2 manufacturing operations set by default. The first one is an end plate, connecting the horizontal beam to a column, and set of stiffeners. And let's say I want to add new member, so I can use either the button in the top ribbon, or if I right-click on members in the navigated tree, again, I can define a new member, or I can even copy the existing member like this, change the direction, for example, and now I would need to connect this member somehow to column, which I won't do right now, but I would use manufacturing operation for that. So if I click on operation in the top ribbon, you see a library of manufacturing operations we have in our application. So those are basic operations in the first row and in the fourth row from the top. In those 2 middle rows represent more advanced operations, yeah. And at the very bottom, there are some special operations such as working plane, negative volume, lateral torsion restraint, and operations for connecting timber to timber or timber to steel members. So once I define my connection, I'm satisfied with my design. I can proceed and run the analysis. So I can do it directly from the design section, hitting the calculate button, or I can move from design to check using the tabs at the top of the application, and in here do the same. And actually there are 2 options how to run the analysis. By clicking the calculate button, it would automatically perform stress strain analysis. But there is also another option, and I recommend it in case you have some compressed members in your connection. And it's the second option, running stress strain together with buckling analysis. So this is very important, let's say, in cases of truss connections, if some member is connected, for example, using a cassette plate, and this member is compressed, then I would definitely need to, or I really should perform also buckling analysis together with stress strain analysis. So now I'll click calculate button, and the software automatically performs materially nonlinear analysis. And now I quickly see the results. So the overall check can be seen in the left top corner of the application, and you also see overall check in the graphic scene in the middle. And as we can see, the whole connection is represented using different colors. Some parts are gray, some parts are green, and even this valve is, for example, orange. This is what we call a traffic light system. So everything that is represented in gray, it means that utilization for such members or elements is between 0 and 60%, and those parts of the connection can be somehow optimized. So let's say I can decrease the thickness of these stiffeners to save some material, for example. Everything that is represented in green, the utilization for such components is between 60 and 95%. Everything represented in orange is between 95 to 100%. So it's almost at its limits, yeah. And if there is any part of the connection that is failing, then it would be represented in red color, and you would immediately see where is the problem. This is the overall check, and now I can check the connection and the results more in deep. So the first option is to turn on stresses. So I immediately see the stresses in my connection. I also recommend turning on the mesh setting. Mesh is created automatically by the software, as you could have seen in the code setup. And again, we do not recommend changing the setting only if it's really necessary. And also what's really useful is the deformed shape of the connection. I always recommend to use the deformed shape. I can even increase the deformation, or sorry, the scale a little bit. Why it is so important? Because you immediately see the behavior of the connection. So this is the response of the connection for the initial load input. So now I have a clear idea of how the connection would behave in reality, and I immediately see if my initial assumption of the connection's behavior is correct or not. If you see some unexpected deformation of the connection, in majority of cases, it means that there is something wrong with the initial setting or design of the connection, and you should go back to the design section and pay attention to the design. But this connection behaves as I would expect it to behave. So I can even turn on forces in bolts. So again, I see tensile forces for bolts. And because we use non-linear analysis, so we can assume real stiffness of each component in the analysis. That's why these tensile forces are increased by prying. Yeah. Also, we can check plastic strain if there is any. So for those elements, the stress in steel overreached the yield strength, and there is a small portion of plastification of steel, but still within the limits. The limit value is 5% of plastic strain. And I can also check any stress in contact. So again, this backs my my idea or my expectation of the connection's behavior. Yeah. So this is a graphical interpretation of results, and we can also check the results one by one in the table on the right side of the application. So by default, as first we see overall results, but we can see quite thorough results for all components in the model, so for all plates. Yeah, so we see which item we're dealing with, the thickness of each plate, extreme load effect, equivalent stress for this particle element or component, plastic strain if there is any, and also maximal contact stress. If I want to check the design values that were used for the calculation, I can click this plus button, right click and see the print review. So I see design values that were used in the analysis for steel plates. The same I can do for bolts. Yeah, so again, we see comprehensive results for each bolt. It means that each bolt is calculated or evaluated separately in the model. So we see the grade, extremes, tensile forces, shear forces, check for tension, for shear, for bearing, and then utilizations in tension, utilization in shear, and utilization in interaction of tension and shear, together with information for detailing check. And again, if I click the plus button, I see the results. So all the formulas and equations from the code are shown together with a reference to a code and corresponding table or section in the code. So using this, you can quite easily double check all the results that you got from the application with, for example, hand calculations. If you use the same formula and same initial input, you should get almost the same results. I'm saying almost because, yeah, as I already explained in this case, for example, for tension, the tensile force is increased by π. And last but not least, we can check results for welds. So again, table with results, and in the right bottom corner of the application, we see stress diagrams, normal stress, shear stresses, and equivalent stress diagram for individual elements of the whole weld. So this is how you can check the results of the analysis. And after we are done checking the results and you are satisfied with your design, you can go to the report section to create a comprehensive report. So the report can be customizable. You can either have a brief report, one-page report, or a detailed report. And on the right side, you can change various settings. So for example, I want to include formulas for extreme checks for my connection. So I click this button in the right bottom corner of the app and click Generate Report button. And in a few seconds, I have my report. So all information about cross sections, about supports, load effects, table of unbalanced forces, and results. Yeah, overall check, graphical visualization, together with formulas for all corresponding checks for bolts and welds. Yeah. There's also a possibility of creating a bill of material that you can use for your shop drawings. The report itself can be directly printed from the application, or it can be exported to Word document, PDF file, or to the DXF file that again you can use for your shop drawings. And of course, as I mentioned, you can export the connection to IFC file and work with IFC file further on. The last section I haven't spoken about yet is the materials section. And in this section, you see all the settings for cross sections, materials, and in case of bolts, of course, bolts as well. Yeah. So here you see all important information and properties for each materials. Those properties can be changed, so they are editable. You can modify them and then save them again and use them for all your projects. So now I have shown you how to successfully design steel connection, how to properly evaluate the results, and how to create the final report. So let me jump back to the presentation because we are slowly at the end of the session. And let me present you our e-learning campus courses. So for those who are keen to learn more about the proper usage of the software, I can really recommend studying one of the campus courses. At the moment, we have 6 courses in total, 3 for steel, 1 for essentials of steel connection design for the connection application, then advanced topics in steel connection design, again for the connection application, and the last course is for learning how to properly use the steel member application. And in terms of concrete, again, 3 courses for the detail application and for the RCS application. What I can say, the benefits are that those courses are self-paced, so you can study them at your own pace. And one of the benefits is also that it's completely free. And then, of course, after you successfully finish the courses, you can then request a certificate of completion, so you can immediately increase your value on the market to show everyone that you are expert at StatiCa software. And for those who prefer more human touch in the learning process, you can also request in-person training. And again, we have sets of training for steel, for concrete, so you can fill in short form on the web page and you can request either offline or online training. Let me quickly show you where to find all those information. So on our webpage, StatiCa.com, in the support and learning section, there is e-learning and certification section. So here you can find all important information about the campus courses and immediately start studying. Or if you go to in-person training section, this is where you can request in-person training. Yeah. So what happens after the webinar? After the webinar, please fill in short survey. Tell us what if you liked the webinar, how did you like it, and if there is anything else you would like to see in the future, for example. Then, of course, after the webinar, we will post the recording of the webinar to our support center and also the YouTube channel. If you're interested in trying to use StatiCa software, again, you can apply for free 14 days trial version at statica.com/free-trial. And if you don't want to do everything by yourself, you can go to our support and learning section. The section contains hundreds of useful knowledge-based articles, theoretical backgrounds for various applications, and also pretty thorough step-by-step tutorials that can help you with starting with IDEA StatiCa. And what's ahead of us? As I've already mentioned, this is the first of series of Master Your Connections webinars. The next webinar will be in 14 days, so on 25th of July, and we will talk more about moment connections, how to properly design them, and again, properly check and interpret the results. The next webinar will be on August 8th for shear connections, August 22nd for complex connections, and the last webinar will be held on 5th of September, and the topic will be beam lengths. So this is all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to see you at one of our next webinars. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice day and bye-bye.